Super Wild Card weekend has finally arrived. The NFL playoffs kick off this weekend, and I'm going to break it down to see who will be lifting up that Lombardi trophy in the next few weeks. I'm Marcelo Unda, and this is the NFL Super Wild Card weekend preview presented by theno.com. All right, so now the NFL season has finally come to an end. We had drama late into the season where we've got teams that were basically out of the playoffs make it in, and teams that exceeded expectations, and also some that had started off hot and fallen off towards the end of the season. So now what I like to be able to do is look over the NFL playoff bracket to see who's got a chance to lift up the Lombardi trophy at the end of the season. As you guys know, in the AFC, we have the top seeded Baltimore Ravens, and in the NFC, the top seeded San Francisco 49ers. When I look at both of these teams, they have elite talent on both sides of the football, offense and defense. Great head coach with experience. John Harbaugh winning a Super Bowl with the Ravens, and Kyle Shanahan, who's had plenty of playoff appearances and also Super Bowl appearances. Some of the things that I look at for these teams that are in the playoffs as to who has a shot of making a run at the Super Bowl, I look at essentially three things. It's the quarterback, the head coach, and a defense. You want to be able to have a reliable quarterback that can make plays, that can make a drive at the end of a game, cool under pressure, avoid any type of turnovers, or can extend a play and make something happen. Head coaching, going head to head with these coaches. Some have had limited experience or none at all, or some may have playoff experience where they've had to go in on the road and get these wins. And so those are some of the things that I look at for with these head coaching positions. And then also the defense. How good are the defense? What are their strengths? Can they get after the quarterback on the passing rush? So the way I look at this, kind of where it's set up, obviously I think Baltimore and San Francisco are two of the elite teams. It's pretty chalky, but I still have to respect that they're both up there. Some of the teams that I do like that kind of fit some of these criteria are the Los Angeles Rams, the Dallas Cowboys, the Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, and the Cleveland Browns. Now, the reason why I include these teams kind of separating the rest of the pack is because those teams I can see beating those top tier teams in the Ravens and the 49ers. So let's break it down on the AFC side. The reason why I like Cleveland is, one, they have a great pass rush, stellar defense that can travel on the road. Stefanski has some playoff experience, and you've got the resurgence of Joe Flacco. Now, I'm not suggesting that Joe Flacco he's probably probably the lower tier of all the quarterbacks in this playoffs, but he's got playoff experience. He's got talent around him, and he's done a lot from the amount of time that he's been in Cleveland. And they don't necessarily need him to win a game, but if it came down to one final drive, there's something that I think that he could help that team advance. The reason why I like Cleveland, if they were in a matchup with Baltimore, their division rival, if for some reason they managed to be able to contain Lamar Jackson and forcing him to make throws one-on-one, that's exactly that plays into the strengths that the Cleveland Browns want to do. They want to be able to shut down the run and force you to pass. And so that's one reason why I think that Cleveland, if in the event that they were in a matchup, they could be on an upset alert with Baltimore to get them into the AFC Championship or possibly into the Super Bowl if they were to fall down that way. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs, they have essentially all season long have not been the elite team that everyone has been expected. They have a very tough defense, but no offensive weapons aside from Travis Kelce. You've got Andy Reid, you've got Patrick Mahomes. I think people are going to be wanting to see what he can do on the road in the playoffs. But I think that in the event that if the stakes were high enough, I think that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid would be able to manage themselves to get a win, to move further if they need to. Now, the other team in the AFC that I like is the Buffalo Bills. So the Buffalo Bills, they fire their offensive coordinator in the middle of the season. Joe Brady takes over as interim OC. They essentially stop with the spread offense. They go for limit the amount of passes that's being thrown by Josh Allen and start focusing on running the football. The defense is still put together, that's been around for the past several seasons. You got Von Miller on the edge. They want to be able to force turnovers to get the ball back to help the offense extend more points and extend drives. And with Josh Allen limiting his opportunities to throw, you're seeing him run more often to getting first downs. However, Josh Allen's going to do Josh Allen things. He's very risky with the football. He can let that ball go. That's something that hopefully that he can take and manage going into this postseason. So the way I look at it there, going into this weekend, you have Houston hosting Cleveland. The winner of that would most likely go to Baltimore unless Miami upsets Kansas City or Pittsburgh upsets Buffalo. Now, Buffalo, being that they are the number 2 seed, they get to host Pittsburgh, and it's supposed to be very cold weather. Buffalo's spread is 10 points or so, 9.5. Mason Rudolph going there. I don't really trust them to go into Buffalo and get an upset to move further. So I don't necessarily think Pittsburgh is moving on. Kansas City and Miami. Miami has basically limped into the postseason. I feel like every week, the past 4 or 5 weeks, they've lost a starter on offense and in defense. Today it was announced that Raheem Mostert and Jalen Waddle would be practicing today. So if they're practicing now already, they're most likely going to play in this game. The only thing is that it is going to be the return of Tyreek Hill back to Arrowhead. However, he's playing banged up. You've got Waddle that's banged up, Mostert's banged up. Just because they start the game doesn't mean that they're going to be able to finish this game. It's going to be very cold there this weekend. I want to say it's going to be below 10 degrees. For some reason, if being cold and outside in that weather, that high-flying offense that we were seeing in the beginning of the season by the Miami Dolphins, it's most likely not going to be able to translate in the weather situation. I would expect Kansas City to go ahead and get a win there. So I'm projecting Kansas City to go to Buffalo, while Cleveland has a chance to go to Baltimore. I do like Baltimore to win that game, but in the event, I still think Cleveland has an opportunity that they could be live to win that game. Kansas City and Buffalo, you have the opportunity. It's kind of a coin toss. I mean, we saw them play 2 years ago in the playoffs where it came down to the last 15 seconds where Patrick Mahomes was able to advance in the AFC playoffs. But this time around, it would be that Josh Allen gets the host in Buffalo where Patrick Mahomes would have to play a playoff game on the road. So the way I look at it, it's looking like it's going to set up as either Baltimore or Buffalo in the AFC Championship as that matchup. And to me, I like Baltimore if it were them too. I think those are the 4 teams that I would see being able to make a run in the AFC, because if Cleveland can upset Baltimore and have a chance to play Buffalo or Kansas City, who aren't that much very explosive offenses, that plays into what Cleveland wants to do. Play man on the outside, have a pass rush to get after the quarterback, and being able to run the football, and also use Joe Flacco to go over the top and play actions in the deep ball threat. I think people should have to start believing that there's a path for the Cleveland Browns to get to the Super Bowl. And that's why I've got futures on all 4 of these teams. Now, I've taken them different times throughout the year. I got the Ravens early in the season at plus 1,200 to win the Super Bowl. I went ahead and took the Browns about 2 or 3 weeks ago at 50 to 1. And then I've got Chiefs at 10 to 1, which I took today as an okay. When you got Patrick Mahomes 10 to 1 to win, and he's got a chance to win against the Buffalo Bills, who they've already lost to, but an opportunity to get some revenge, and then have Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship game, why not? I just did a little sprinkle there. And then I've also got the Bills that I took probably, I can't remember exactly when, maybe it was after the Eagles loss, maybe before the Kansas City Chiefs win at 22 to 1. So got them throughout the season just to kind of see how it play out. So I'm feeling kind of nice, hopefully, that I can get one of those 4 teams into that conference championship game and then into the Super Bowl. So tell me what you guys think. Who's hot going into the playoffs? Can the Buffalo Bills make a run, being that they're the hottest team at the end of the season? Can Patrick Mahomes win on the road and make a run to get the Chiefs back-to-back champs? Let me know what you think. This is Marcelo Unda signing off, and this is The Know.